Hello and welcome to my channel Straight MBA. My name is Adeolu Timothy. If this is your first time here, do well to click on the subscribe button as well as the notification icon so that each time I release an awesome video, you get notified. So, interestingly, today I want to talk about a topic that is more like a reality check to every one of us. And the question is Africa broke or are you broke? Is Africa broke or are you broke? This channel, what we basically talk about is common sense, basic mathematics to make our life more productive. We question principles, we check how we can extract certain principles from those who have gone ahead and replicate them in our lives. Talking about Africa, Africa is a growing continent. But interestingly, when people look at Africa, people have different perspective, different opinion. Some people, when they look at Africa, they see a continent that is plagued with different kind of problems, while others, when they look at Africa, they see a continent that has a whole lot of opportunities, a lot of potentials. Of course, there's no denying the fact that we have our challenges. But despite all of these things, it has been proven over and over by people who have survived and have built a successful life in Africa that it is possible. So today I'm going to be trying to discuss about Africa and how we can leverage on some of the things some people would call problems while others will call them opportunities. Now, it has been proven that in Africa, sincerely, you don't need a really bright or an amazing or a novel idea or big capital before you can start a business. In Africa, we need everyday product, everyday service. Africa is a growing one, so it makes it interesting. So I'm going to be talking about certain sectors and how we can leverage upon them. The number one thing I'll talk about in Africa is hunger. When people look at Africa, most of the time when you see picture talking about Africa on the internet, you would mostly see picture of small children that are malnourished, that are underfed. Even though most of those people that post such pictures, they use it to push their own narratives and all of that. But the reality is this. Africa as a whole, Nigeria to be specific, we still have problem with feeding. We still have problem with hunger. So this is one of the sectors you can leverage upon. We have over 60% of our land in Africa, of the world land, being arable. No other continent is as blessed when it comes to having arable land as Africa. So this makes it an opportunity that one can leverage upon. Talking about hunger, you can start to see it as a problem and can start to see it as an opportunity. There are different supply chain when it comes to agriculture as a whole. There's the production, there's the processing, there's the retailing. Getting a piece of land to start a small farm is something. Yes, there are other problems attached to it, but it's where people will always eat. Food business can never go out of style. A lot of people have eateries, they have canteens. People now do food home delivery. People run catering services. So it's a sector you can leverage upon. Still talking about hunger, there's still a major gap between the farmers and the market. So you can create a platform where people that want to sell their farm produce can meet people that want to buy. And sincerely, you don't really need too much structure. You have Facebook there as a platform. Create a forum. Start engaging farmers. Tell them what you have. Start interacting with them. Create that forum and you can always leverage. Farmers produce around the year. So people want to sell. And the people who need that, you can decide to be the middleman. You're not even selling, you're not buying. What you're just doing is you created a platform where there can be exchange of information. So hunger is one of the sectors you can look into to get opportunity and find a chain. Find one of the supply chain, look for an aspect where you can decide to innovate and decide to pitch into and build a business out of it. But if there's something I must emphasize, is that you must be ready to build it. Take 2 to 3 years. We must detach from this instant gratification. You start a business today, you expect the reward to start coming in tomorrow. No, it takes time, but the reward is there. The challenges are there, quite all right, but the rewards as well are there. Now, the second thing I'm going to talk about is unemployment. Unemployment is still a major problem in Africa. It's still a big deal. Thousands and millions of African youth are unemployed. Africa is a growing continent, and when they say it's a growing continent, it means we have more than 50% of our population that are youth. So we have people who are unemployed, we have people who are underemployed. You can decide to innovate, you can decide to start a training program, skill acquisition for people that are out of school, that are out of job. Start a skill acquisition program, let people pay to learn. Or like these guys did, LinkedIn did an interesting thing. They created a platform where people looking for job can post their profile, people looking to hire talent can come there to secure. There are other platforms that offer similar services too. It's about being able to leverage, being able to see problems, see challenges from different perspectives. Another problem we still have in Africa is disease. We have a whole lot of unsolved disease problems in Africa. We might not have research labs, but those are fields you can decide to delve into, research into them, apply for grants. So coronavirus came interestingly, and somebody came up with a model that is cost effective to conduct testing for people. Well, to me, it's not a big deal. All the person needed to think was, how do we ensure there's no contact between the person being tested and the person taking the samples without having to be using something that would cost us, disposable whatever gloves and the likes that they use. So disease is still a major sector, a major problem, a big deal in Africa that can be tapped into. The another thing that is a major problem in Africa is education. Education is still a big deal. The poor don't have access to education. Our schools are not really standard, if we want to be sincere with ourselves. People now run schools online. Talking about masters, talking about first degrees, people now run schools online. You can start remote learning, remote teaching. People teach all kinds of things. So education is still a major big deal. Then interestingly, a lot of people have they've referred to Africa as the black continent, not necessarily because of our skin, but because we don't have electricity. Power is still a problem in Africa. We don't have light. Okay, so, and renewable energy is coming. If you want to go into that sector, you can decide to have, charging stations for smartphones. We have millions of smartphone users. Can we have charging stations that is solar powered? Power banks are there. People are innovating every day. People need to charge their phones. People need to charge their phones over and over. They need a fast charge cable. Some guys did that, Pi charge, they did that. So those are some of the things you want to consider. How do you leverage into the electricity problem we have in Africa to build a business, to build an opportunity, to carve a niche for yourself? Then another thing is, when people look at Africa, some people see a continent that is dirty, a dirty continent, while some other persons will see a continent that gives you opportunity to start a waste management business. We have thousands of estates across Africa. Who handles their waste disposal? You go to popular cities and, people indiscriminately dispose waste. You can start a waste management business. So it's about perspective. Then transportation is not a major problem. Lagos, for example, is known for the heavy traffic. People spend a larger part of their day, if I may, on the road. How are we about to come up with a model It might not necessarily be for you to start a transport business, but can you design a model for that will reduce the number of people that have to travel on the road? Zoom did something. They have, they have a software where you can hold meetings. Slack did the same thing. Teams can work remotely. So can you come up with a model that you can pitch to companies, to industries, that would make their staffs not have to travel the road often and yet be still very productive? So all of these things are what we'll start to look into. How can we innovate? What can we do better? How can I solve this problem? And of course, another interesting problem we still have in Africa is shelter. A lot of people are still homeless. How can we leverage on all of these? Some people still don't have access to water, every of those things. So it's a question of, when you look at Africa, what do you see? Do you see a continent that is plagued with problems, or you see a continent that has a lot of opportunities, a lot of potentials you can tap into? You can spend much of your time complaining about why it's not going to work, the government is bad, there is no power supply, there is no fund, there is no this, there is no that. But while you are complaining, is the same place, the same continent where others are building businesses. There are so many problems around. It's just about looking at problems and seeing them from a different perspective of being a solution provider. So hunger, which aspect can you decide to innovate from hunger? You want to go into processing, you want to go into production, you want to just create a platform of exchanging information, unemployment, you want to supplement of education, access to water, waste management. All of those things are things you can leverage upon. So I hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you for coming around today. Like I said, my name is Adeolu Timothy, and this is Straight MBA. Don't forget to click the subscribe button as well as the notification icon. Thank you.